fish market stop, named because of the fish market on the right hand side here, which was actually started by Albert Stanford back in 1904. So it's been a focal point of Wynyard Quarter for nearly 118 years now.
And if you look on North Wharf there, you'll see the rails where the trains used to bring the products to the wharf sheds ready for export.
It's a beautiful reminder of what was here before the restaurants and the residential areas. The nice thing about it is it actually does look nice when you look down. In the Wynyard Quarter we do try and keep some of the artifacts of the previous industrial area to remind people of what did cover the area before we repurposed it, but always making them practical and useful at the same time.
Well, this tramway was created by Waterfront Auckland, a council-controlled organisation who are responsible for the transformation of this area from an industrial site to a suburb, and it was their idea to put a tramway in based on what overseas cities were doing. When they redeveloped their waterfronts, they put in a heritage tramway, and this tramway was supposed to run from downtown Auckland down here to Wynyard Quarter, move people around the quarter, and then go back to the downtown area again. But unfortunately that part of the tramway was never completed, so we've always just run this loop with our 4 tram stops.
So if you look at the tram window to your left, you'll see that we've got 2 different colours of pavement with a sort of white strip in the middle. That white strip is the original seawall for this area, and it's been named Julian's Wall, named after the contractor who built it, whose last name was Julian. So that little white strip there predates anything else in this area. And you can see as we go down, it's still got some of the original mooring pins from where boats used to pull onside and be tied up to moor. And until very recently, it was still, parts of this were still a working wharf. It was only at sort of in 2020 when this used to, on our left here, used to be where the America's Cup Challenger base was before it moved to further down the wharf, and the hotel was built here instead. But so this used to be a piece of working wharf, and just up ahead, the newest bit that was the working wharf has now been turned into Uranga Plaza, which is wrapped around the front of the hotel and joins Karanga Plaza over there by the tidal steps. Nice little fact for you there. Just up ahead, the trees you can see there mark the northern end of Victoria Park. Victoria Park is one of Auckland's oldest sporting grounds, opened in 1905 and named for Queen Victoria, who died in 1901. It was in fact the site of New Zealand's first ever international sporting match. On a miserably wet Saturday in July of 1910, the British Lions faced off against the New Zealand Māori Rugby League. Sadly though, the final score was 34-0 to the visitors, and it remains to this day the worst loss in the New Zealand Māori Rugby League's 113-year history.
It may surprise you to know that Auckland's original shoreline was on the far side of Victoria Park. And over there is a huge sculpture of an eel or tuna, and that is to commemorate the fact that Maori used to catch tuna or eel from a stream that ran down where roughly Franklin Road is now.
Victoria Park was originally a fishing lagoon for the Maori people, and where we are now was all part of Auckland Harbour. Everything here has been reclaimed from the sea.
It was the first part of the land reclamation project that was started by William C. Daldy.
Victoria Park completed first in 1905, this bit here 1923, and right down the far end behind us in what we know as Wynyard Quarter today was reclaimed in the late 1920s.
It was originally used for the timber trade and then petrochemical storage. And as you can see now, there's many sort of restaurants and businesses and residential areas.
Like many large parks and sports grounds in Auckland, like Albert Park, the Domain, Western Springs and Cornwall Park, during World War II Try that again. During World War II, it
housed a US military camp. At the end of the 1950s, when the US eventually left, the Auckland Council contemplated turning Victoria Park into an industrial park and filling it with warehouses and factories.
So as you think about this being reclaimed land, you'll understand why the buildings on the right, the foundations for them had to go down some 30 metres to find solid rock to set those foundations on.
So as I said, the far side of Victoria Park was Auckland's shoreline, and over there also is one of Auckland's Council's first service buildings, and that has a huge chimney, and that chimney is there because that's where Auckland's rubbish used to be burned right up until the 1970s. Originally delivered by horse and cart, but later on obviously by truck. In the 1970s it was decided that was too polluting form of way to get rid of rubbish, and so that was ceased in the 1970s.
So we had petrochemical, oil storage, cement, concrete, and over the other side on the left here in Beaumont Street was where all the boat building yards were. And those of you of a certain age who remember the great big double-ended steam ferries and the vehicular car ferries that used to ply the Waitemata Harbour before the Harbour Bridge, they were all built here on the left by Chas Bailey and some of the other big boat building companies. Also down Beaumont Street we had railway tracks that took the coal wagons down to the gasworks, which sat right where the entrance to the Harbour Bridge approach is today. And if you've taken a walk along North Wharf, you'll have seen the railway tracks in the wharf where the coal wagons and the freight trains would come from the city side, across the lifting bridge, along North Wharf, and then the coal wagons would go down Beaumont Street to the gasworks. All of that gone now, as this is our new inner city suburb. Between the two big concrete silos on the left there, you can see the top of the Auckland Harbour Bridge. And you'll understand when you look at it why Aucklanders nicknamed it the coat hanger when it first opened. But it was the Harbour Bridge that saw huge growth and development of the North Shore of Auckland. And as I mentioned earlier, before the Harbour Bridge, we had a fleet of steam ferries, including car ferries, which used to serve the North Shore suburbs. From the other side of the single silo was the special landing they built for the vehicular, the car ferries, which used to serve Northcote and Birkenhead right up until when the Harbour Bridge opened in 1959.